The Baseball Writers Association of America elected Chipper Jones, Vladimir Guerrero, Jim Thome, and Trevor Hoffman into the Baseball Hall of Fame on Wednesday night, and the latter didn't enter without some controversy. Not controversy surrounding the performance-enhancing drugs, politics, or any off-the-field antics, but controversy involving the save statistic, the unfortunate case of Billy Wagner, and how we need to properly evaluate relief pitchers when it comes to the Hall of Fame election. Hoffman, who held the title as baseball's all-time saves leader when he retired in 2010, received 79.9% of the vote after missing by just 5 votes last year. Wagner, who ranked 6th on that same list, garnered just 11.1% of the vote. Sure, that's up from his previous 2 years on the ballot, but Mariano Rivera is expected to hit the ballot in 2019, and we may never see Wagner come close to registering enough votes to be enshrined to Cooperstown. And to think this isn't a tragedy is just inaccurate. His 1,196 career strikeouts as a reliever are the 4th most in the history of baseball, and also 4th on the list of Hall of Fame relief pitchers, including current candidates. Wagner's career ERA of a 2.31 is also more than half a run lower than Hoffman's, while his career whip and strikeout rate also led all relievers with at least 800 innings pitched in Major League Baseball history. Now, despite blinding advantages Wagner has on all other relievers throughout the sport's history, the left-hander finished with 179 fewer saves than Hoffman. This case shows us that baseball still has ways to go when dealing with relief pitchers, especially closers, who are still on that fine line in terms of evaluation. His 422 saves aren't good enough for old school voters, and his 27.7 WAR is not enough for new school voters. Yet, we turned a blind eye to what categories we should use to evaluate relievers, not just closers. Now, before I continue, understand this is no knock on Trevor Hoffman's legacy. He was thrown into a role that required him to come out in the 9th inning during save situations and slam the door shut. And he did better than most, as his 88.8% save rate ranked 2nd to only Mariano Rivera, among relievers with at least 400 saves. Wagner is 3rd on that same list. So, is this a more accurate way to measure relievers? Well, not necessarily. Save percentage stems from saves, and we're way beyond favoring one reliever over another just because a manager used one more often than the other in save situations. That's why better arms are used earlier in games these days, and why Indians reliever Andrew Miller is considered by many to be the best reliever in the game, above many closers. So, can we use WAR to Can WAR be used to draw a more definitive perception of Hall of Fame worthiness? Although its shortcomings aren't as near the level of the save statistic, WAR has its faults when it comes to evaluating relievers over time. Take Hoyt Wilhelm, Rollie Fingers, and Goose Gossage, who are 3 of the 6 primary relievers in the Hall. For example, between the 3 of them, we have seen workloads that we haven't seen and probably will never see again. Among the careers of Wilhelm, Fingers, and Gossage are 20 seasons in which they registered 100 innings of relief. Since 2010, a total of 0 relievers have posted that number. Dennis Eckersley is another reliever in the Hall, but his WAR total is influenced highly by his workload as a starter. From 1975 to 86, he totaled a 45.7 WAR. From 87, when he moved to the bullpen, he totaled a 16.8 WAR. That's just 26% of his career WAR of 62.5. Eckersley innings pitched unquestionably enhanced his career WAR, as it also did for Wilhelm, Fingers, and Gossage. Other advanced metrics also fall short in accurately evaluating relief pitchers' Hall of Fame case between the eras, more specifically comparing the modern reliever to the fireman we saw in the mid to late 1900s. Win probability added is also skewed because a pitcher who pitches in more high-leverage spots has a much better chance of compiling a higher grade WPA. That doesn't necessarily tell us who was the more dominant reliever, as old school relievers would be exposed to more of those situations. So is there any method aside from record, saves, save conversion rate, ERA, WAR, and WPA we can use? Thankfully, yes, and they help distinguish between the different types of relief pitchers we have seen over the last 30 years. And we start at ERA+. This stat, unlike traditional ERA, measures against the league average and adjusts for ballpark factors, considered a more accurate method of measuring run prevention. Wagner's career ERA+ of 187 led all Hall of Fame and Hall of Fame eligible relievers in 2018. Another category Wagner was second to none in on the ballot this year was strikeout rate. Among Hall of Fame and Hall of Fame eligible relievers, his 33.2 strikeout rate topped the list, while Hoffman's strikeout rate of 25.8% comes in at second. No Hall of Fame reliever or any pitcher in baseball was better at not allowing the ball in play than Billy Wagner was. So let's put it all together by adjusting to win probability added. Context-neutral wins offsets leverage and measures how much value a player added to their team regardless of the leverage, which, as mentioned, favors the old-school reliever. Unsurprisingly, Mariano Rivera leads relievers, while Billy Wagner comes at number 5 and Hoffman sits at number 4. So, are both Hoffman and Billy Wagner worthy of the Hall of Fame? Considering who's already in there and putting them all on the same playing field, yes, both Billy Wagner and Trevor Hoffman deserve spots. So what does this snub tell us in hindsight? We should have a better understanding of the context of the fireman, the modern closer, and even the modern super relievers. But don't think there isn't work to be done. Look at all the numbers that do help us understand the context and ask yourself why Billy Wagner received 11.1% of the vote in his third year on the ballot, while Trevor Hoffman earned 79.9% en route to enshrinement. If you made it to this part of the video, you should be scratching your head. It's not that Hoffman didn't provide Hall of Fame value, it's that Wagner is living in Hoffman's shadow because he racked up 126 fewer saves despite providing comparable value. It's time to change with the position and how we've handled relievers over the years. We shouldn't only remain flexible in seeking other ways to evaluate them, but also put to work what justifies immortality. Wagner's dominance in comparison to his peers on the ballot is difficult to overlook, and we can't deal with the narrow-minded view many have on relievers.